or make you laugh, make you cry like Ain't Life Funny. Ugh.
Welcome to episode 38 of Ain't Life Funny. I'm here with Don Ron himself. Aaron, what's up?
So you just going around hosting other podcasts, using your
cheating on you,
podcast to
bro.
plug your podcast, and then
I'm
simultaneously
gonna cut that out, so don't even. You just fucked it up. I'm gonna cut it out, but
then simultaneously still using the radio voice all at the same time.
Oh yeah,
is that what's going on?
But I just gotta say, it doesn't speak well that as soon as I sent the text to my wife, hey, me and Aaron are gonna record a quick one real quick, she just typed back a sex tape ? So I don't know what that means, but I'm not thrilled with it.
She knows your ulterior lifestyle. That's what that is.
I mean, I moved to LA, dude. I'm here to just, I'm just here to just experience and be part of the community, y'all. Yeah.
Oh, word. That's how you getting now?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, man. But yeah, dude, I mean, I'm kind of chilled out from the events of earlier.
You're not still like simmering with fucking conspiracy?
I mean, dude, like I already said, man, like I don't even know if I can start even jumping into like the conspiracy lane with all this shit, because like I feel like at this point it's kind of blatantly obvious that like I said in the last podcast, like all those things are like all those conspiracy theories lead to one thing. There is some overlord theory or someone's trying to hide them. That's what a conspiracy is, a group of people trying to hide covert activity. So that's really not a conspiracy at this point. They have a black budget for the military, the CIA and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what they spend their money on, and we never will. So, like, I don't know, man. Like, at this point, I think it's just gotten to that point where anything is possible. You know what I'm saying?
Apparently, the FBI ain't spending their budget on shit because they're asking the fucking civilians to help them find these fucking scumbags and shit. It just blows my mind, dude. Every part of it. And when you are conspiracy minded, it's almost maddening. I get it. But like, even if you look at the smallest thing, like my wife and I were just talking the other day about, if you remember, when the like Black Lives Matter protests were going on, or I mean, really any other civil protests you can think of that was going on last year. If anything happened, they were using that facial recognition shit to find people who had half their face covered with a mask because of COVID.
Yeah, bro.
And if they can do that, then why are you asking people to help you find these fucking people, like making it out like, oh, this is an impossible task to find these people who were posting and we can track on cell phones. I mean, it really, again, fosters this real big distrust bubble in my head that's about to pop, where no matter what avenue you look at, it's like they're lying about something. I mean, something.
That's what I'm saying, dog. Like, to me, you can't tell me that they couldn't have prevented that shit from going down, dog. They seen the mass movement of millions of phones, however many people that was, come into your city all at once, like, and they've been talking about it for a month. So it's like, to me, like, this shit is just theater at this point, you know what I'm saying? But all in all, like, the thing that I'm really trying to like switch my brain over to, dude, is like, I feel like there's a reason that shit is always shown. Like, people always say, like, if it bleeds, it leads. They don't ever talk about good news, stuff like that. The reason why is because they're trying to market that shit to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the fucking repetition of it. Like, have you ever seen how they advertise for the news, dude? Like, everybody's seen it. It's like, tonight at 8, there could be some mystery. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a group of gang members going downtown, robbing and raping people on every corner. Like, find out at 11.
This is the news thing I love the best. Tonight at 9, is something in your house killing your kids? Mm-hmm. Find out later. It's like, wait, no, what's killing my kids?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Because like that's advertisement, bro. Like, we talked about it last episode. So like, to me, the fact that they're showing you all this violence and it keeps getting shown repetitively, to me, it makes me question, is this getting produced? You know what I'm saying? Because we're from that mindset of like behind the camera, production mindset. So like, are they actually creating situations, manipulating people to do it? And then, like I said, the evidence is proving that, because like that's what the Facebook thing is that we talk about all the time, where their feeds constantly are bombarding them with information and misinformation. And then also when we asked about the question of where did those bricks come from in the other riots, like, are these things being engineered? And I'm feeling, as a cameraman, I feel like it is, because the framework on some of these shots,
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, did you see the one when they were all lined up pushing the door? Like,
yeah.
like that shit looked like literally like if you were fucking Oliver Stone or somebody, you know what I'm saying? And then they stormed the Capitol all in mass
I mean, even
formation.
that one,
Like, it was crazy.
showing where the cops being crushed in the door, and he's like,
Yeah,
"Help!"
yeah, like,
It's
yeah.
a reverse shot of what you were saying. It's like eventually at the climax, that's what like the shot they'd show to like right before the barrier breaks. You know?
That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean,
Like, I don't know,
God,
man.
dude.
Like, that's why I don't want to sit here and say that like our government is like purposefully like engineering fucking attacks on us. Like, I don't know if it is the government, you know what I'm saying? Like, or the branch of governments that we would think, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that like it's so many wars going
Ooh.
on even amongst that, you know
You
what I'm
think it's
saying?
like some
Like,
kind of sick, like Ryan Reynolds led group of people that's just some group of like, it's like John Travolta in that movie Swordfish, where he's like
I mean, think
a
about
counter,
this.
he's a terrorist, but he's somehow connected to the government and they
I
just use
mean,
him.
I'm not even saying the word terrorism. Like, I'm saying like to the degree of just that you have to think to yourself, one man with a flash drive had to run to Russia because he almost took down the entire government. You know what I'm saying? Like, Edward Snowden, like, basically blew the lid off the NSA, which was that they're basically surveilling every single person at any given time for whatever given reason. You know what I'm saying? Without warrants, all that shit. They can come into your home via cameras and all that shit,
I mean,
have
what's
all your
also wild
information,
about that
and can
story
all.
is people knew about it,
Yeah, like like, and then the thing is too is
just
that
confirmed it.
and they wrote the laws in a way in which that he was the one that was wrong for revealing it, because like really he was a whistleblower. Like, he found like they were doing illegal things. Like, they're not supposed to be able to just look into your camera and shit and see into your house without a warrant or a subpoena, you know what I'm saying, like a reason to investigate someone. Like, they can do it, like, but they have to have a reason to put a bug in your house, you know what I'm saying? So like the way he was going about it, what he was saying to NSA was that literally he would go and look and see like, okay, this guy is like a doctor in India and we want to, this was happening in the movie. Like, and he wanted to like get him to just do something or sign some bill or some shit, or that was gonna make some money for somebody. So they look into like his life, his background. They find out, like he said, eventually he wound up looking at like this dude's like little daughter's boyfriend's camera type shit, like 5 degrees of separation away from this dude. And he said that's how it happens. Is like you'll look into one guy for this reason, and then you'll say, oh, he has a daughter that has a boyfriend that does unscrupulous things. Then you're looking at him, then they're gonna find out he knows a drug dealer, then you're gonna find out that drug dealer knows this guy. Like, but he's saying it wouldn't even be that big. Like, it would just be that you would be looking at, like people that was like, little kids, old ladies' phones and shit, where it would just be like, damn, like I'm just up in this person's business just because I can be. But you're supposed to have a warrant for that. That's the thing. Like, they didn't have a warrant for that shit. So the fact that he was doing it, he revealed it, he was revealing illegal activity. They tried to send him to jail. So when that happened, people don't understand the massive like significance of that shit. Basically, we're all under attack now, because like you could be working for someone doing something illegal, like at a bank or some shit, robbing people, and you could tell and wind up going to jail because you told. You know
It's
what I'm
so
saying? Like, that's
wild too,
crazy.
because I feel like I remember because that happened like when Obama was in office, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
So when that happened, I felt like Obama had some sort of like protection against whistleblowers, but I mean that dude was the ultimate whistleblower, and like you said, now he's in like Siberia or
What it was that he ran under the guise of having protection for whistleblowers, but he didn't ever do nothing about that shit. Just like he said he was gonna stop renditioning, and he didn't do nothing about that shit. That's why I didn't fuck with that dude, dog. Off day one, that's why I voted for him, was because he said that on his platform. He came out and said, I want to stop torturing people overseas. I'm like, yeah, I'm down with that. Because
let's
that
do
movie
that.
y'all made, Zero Dark 30, that was fucked up. Like, and the fact y'all made a blockbuster movie about that shit was even more fucked up. So, like, yeah, I'm not cool with that shit. And come to find out,
And
Guantanamo Bay
it was
still
a
up and
shit
running.
movie, by the way, everyone. If you like Zero Dark
Well,
30, I'm not hanging out with you. That's a shit.
I just felt like it's a weird ass thing to show that like they're legally torturing someone, and
I mean, it
they
was
made
all
it
those
like,
movies. Remember that movie
yeah,
Sicario that came out? It was like
yeah,
basically
dude.
all that was. It was like, hey, this guy's good at torturing people. Get him on the squad.
Right. Like apparently there's a secret organization that works with the government that can just whoop people ass, and you know
That's
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying? If they
saying.
need the
Like,
dirty
is
work
that
to
what
get
we're
done,
dealing
like,
with? Like a renegade version of that where they
yeah,
were connected to America. Now they're like, we're just gonna
anything's
subvert that.
possible, dude.
I mean,
Anything is
god
possible. Yeah.
damn.
Like, see, what I think it really is that, I mean, it's what the obvious is, except that it's in different degrees, which is that in our government, there's already two branches of ways of thinking. There's a Democratic Republican, but then amongst the Democrat Republican, there's different ways of thinking. And then even amongst that, I'm sure there's different ways of thinking. You know what I'm saying? So, like, who's to say that there isn't just like some crazy, like you said, it could even be just two people, dude, that just link up and say, we're the brothers at arms. And they're just like some renegade Tea Party
Uh,
assistant, you know what I'm saying? That just is like, yo, I got this info, and passes it along to the network that goes and pulls the strings. I mean, because like to me, you would think you couldn't infiltrate a government building without some type of assistance from above on high. You would think, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, the thing is, they've already been showing this idea because they did it in Michigan and shit. You know what I'm saying? To me, that was the rollout. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's like, hey, if y'all want to do this, y'all can get away with it because y'all white and it's cool. You know what I'm saying? So like, come on down with your guns and shit. And if y'all mad, come to the Capitol and turn it up. You know what I'm saying? But
you know
like,
what's really to me would be disappointing is
what's
that
that?
if this is in some way like if Bizarro 1% chance that the people who we are calling seditionists have some not like let's just say for to be argumentative that they know some truth, you know, like they were privy to something that's causing them to act like this. I don't
Okay.
believe this. I am just this is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
thought
yeah.
experiment.
Okay.
How disappointed would you be? I know I would be to find out that these dumb humps that you see on the news that we're like, look at these fucking idiots. Like, look at this fucking guy. They're heroes. I would be
Well,
so disappointed if that was like the people on the level that were actually knowing the shit. I know it's not the
let's
case.
say, check this out. Let's
Again,
say that everything
I
that they're
don't
saying
like
is the
that.
truth. Let's say that those people are right, right? Like, and we're wrong. Like, we're crazy. We're believing in the lies. I told you, I think the deception is that the information is spread evenly amongst both sides, where, you know, the truth is so watered down, nobody will ever know. You know what I mean? But like, what I think is really going on is, let's say that they're right. Okay, cool. Your ultimate goal then was to storm a federal building and just hang around on the rafters.
For the
That's why I said, like,
grant,
I was just,
just
yeah, I just was so disappointed in that. That's all they got in there and did. It was just like, we're inside now. It's like, what are y'all about to do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't did nothing
and
but
they
just
had
show.
shit. They had bombs. They had guns. Like they
Yeah.
literally had shit. There's a guy named Jordan Klepper who always antagonizes Trump people for Daily Show. He's just some white guy,
Yeah.
and you know. But
Yeah.
he went to that thing. Like
Hmm.
he was there when all that shit started. And I
Right.
mean, people literally. I mean, there was a guy with a fucking pitchfork, and these are people that they were showing on camera. So
Right.
for all those people there, I know there were guns there. There was people saying they had guns. There were people saying they were armed. So like if you had all the accoutrement of a coup and then you do the biggest step, which is to breach the doors, right? Isn't that
Right.
whenever you're sieging something, that's like the main thing. You got to do that first before anything else happens. Well, they did. And again, they had all the shit, but they didn't have the ball. Like they had nothing, no plan. They were just like, well, we're here, guys.
Well, to me,
Point the
that's what I'm saying.
guns.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. Like, to me, the ultimate plan would have been then you re-barricade the building and you stay inside of it, like you hold the building. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like
Like
they
how
had
they did.
the first like Senate meeting for their
Well,
version of
no,
the
like,
country or some shit.
well, no, you saw in what was it, Oregon, where they had that city blocks that they took over or whatever, and were saying it was like
Oh,
a
Chad or
unsanctioned.
whatever the fuck it
Yeah,
was.
like you would have tried to do something like that inside of the Capitol, where like you close it up and you say we're holding the Capitol building hostage until the government, you know, gives to our demands. But the reason why they didn't do that, obviously, because they're not crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's
Well,
why I
and
feel like the
also,
whole thing
Aaron,
was stupid
just so you know,
in the first
like they
place.
couldn't have because the QAnon shaman, he wouldn't have been able to get his organic meals, and he needs
Well,
those.
well,
Just so you know, his
that's
mom
what
is
I'm saying.
pleading for the prisons to give him his organic meals. So
Well,
that
to
would have
me,
been
that's But that's why I think that all that shit was theater, though, dude. Because what I mean, like, it's like you get to the highest, like, dude, like, if you were a rebel leader, like, let's say, like, we're the fucking resistance and that's the fucking dark side, you know what I'm saying? That's the empire. Like, if Luke Skywalker got into the chambers of the fucking, you know what I'm saying, of the Sith Lord, and then he's just sitting there with his feet up on the desk, and then the Sith Lord's outside the
Hey
door,
Yoda,
like,
what's up,
yeah.
dog?
But you feel me? Like then the Sith Lord's like, hey, you get out of there right now, or else you're gonna be in big trouble. And then Luke's like, oh my bad, dog, and just left. Like you would be like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, exactly. He's supposed to pull a saber out. Like you're supposed to hold your ground up in his fortress and be like, nah, bro, we came to throw down. Like, what's up, bitch?
Well,
like, you feel me? Like they didn't do none of that. That's why I feel like to me that all that shit was theater, bro. Because like that's what a real riot situation would have done. They wouldn't have just left. They would have been in there being like, come down here, Hillary, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like start making demands and be on the news shooting videos and shit and be like, we have hostages or like whatever the situation was. Like I'm glad they didn't do that, but you also see that like that's what the danger in all of it was too, though, is because like that's why they shouldn't have let them up in that building. That's why it should have been security down there.
like we
You see what I'm
talked
saying?
about
Like,
that part of
you
it.
feel
Like,
me?
I feel like guns should have been popped. Like something should have been done to show that there are like penalties for doing this for anyone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
And to
mean,
me, what's really confusing about it is, I mean, we can say what we want about that actual event. And it's like, to me, what's really concerning is they're making some like minimal arrests, but none of the charges, it's all like disorderly conduct. Like, are you
well, I heard
fucking
the
kidding
guy.
me?
I heard the FBI director gave a speech the other day. He came out. He gave his little statement, and he was saying that it's going to start with that, and then they're going to look to add more charges on the people once they analyze more stuff and all this. But I'm with you. It's like, to me, you've
Get
already
treason on
shown.
that bitch right there. Say it. Like, put it
Well,
on a piece of paper so that it's at least
I
fully oppressive.
mean, maybe. I mean, I'm just saying. I feel like it would just be like unlawful protest or some shit is what they probably wind up hitting them with. But like, I mean, there are going to be hard charges because somebody killed a cop. You know what I'm saying? Like that just is what it is. Somebody
Yeah.
hit a dude
And
with a
Trump
fucking,
came out, said
yeah,
his
like,
shit wasn't he didn't say shit that was bad. He literally came on TV, I think yesterday, and was like, people listen to my speech and said it was completely appropriate what I said. It's like, dude,
yeah.
get this, like, seriously, somebody in the press corps, just get some nuts about you. I mean, nobody's getting charged with anything at this point. Rush him, jack him in the face, and be like, hit him once, just once, even just in the dick. Not even like something that's gonna structurally fuck him up. Just hit him in the dick so
Oh
hard he
man.
starts puking and crying on stage.
Oh
Something.
man.
I
That
just
would be
can't
funny.
get over it.
That would
And
be funny if, like, on the inauguration of Trump did come. He said he's not gonna go, but if he did show up and Biden just jacked him in the balls as he shook his hand, just
I just
low
think it would
blow.
even be better if he just smushed him, like faced him as he walked by. Like Trump tries to get a handshake and Biden just
Oh
like
man.
fucking smushes his face and walks by him real quick.
But get this though, they said supposedly people are now planning more attacks and all that shit, and like that to me,
Every capital
uh,
city, dude, armed
but see,
protests.
But see, that to me proves once again the deception mode behind it all, because now that, like I said, they have a reason to want to go and write up laws and new agendas and be like, hey, you can't have a gun within this amount of distance or whatever, whatever. And like me, I'm like, I'm pro freedom laws. Like I'm not really a big gun advocate, but at the same time, like if you want to have one, like go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm one of them type of
I'm
people, right?
pro
Like,
that. I'm
yeah,
not
you know what I mean?
pro taking the shit willy-nilly everywhere. You own a
Right,
gun,
that's what I'm saying. But that's me.
have it.
I'm anti-government. Like I said, like I voted for Biden, but not to have like a whole bunch of lockdown law and saying like all these things put up. Like I voted him because Trump was saying things that were seditious to like the betterment of our country. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like, to me, I feel like he had enough smart people around him to tell him not to do that, so that he could have won again, or like not had an uproar. I feel like his entire motive and agenda since day one was to cause turmoil, dude.
Yeah.
Like, so now they can come in afterwards and be like law and order. You know what I'm saying? Like rewrite it and be like, hey, you got to have this as a curfew, it's all this, is all that. And with the pandemic on top of it, more reason to just, you know what I'm saying? Like basically inhibit more and more freedom so they can have more controls over you. Because I think they're afraid that people really are getting wising up to what's really going down. You know what I'm saying? Because
you
like,
also see, like, in terms of getting people into office, right? If we're just going like, there's so many levels to any conspiracy that we would talk about, and like
right,
considering like Trump, it's like, is he the one that's the mastermind? Clearly, that's not the case. But to me, like you can see in very recent history, they can control who gets even close to the office. Like a guy
Well,
like
you know,
Bernie
yeah,
Sanders, he gets massive amounts of popularity. You'd
right.
think he would be a shoe in to win, but every time he gets to that fucking uh, where they're picking the representative for the Democrats, nobody
Yeah.
will pick him. And why? Because what he wants to do, I guess, vocally, is completely opposite of everyone's agenda in Washington, even if they
Well,
are Democrats. Like they don't want to vibe with
you
them, so they
check
don't
this
ever
out.
let them in. You
To
know?
me, I totally agree with that. To me, the ultimate proof of some shit like that too is how you know like that whole that there's a selection process of even being chosen. How I think Trump really was purposefully became the president for 4 years to, like I said, cause turmoil and all that. And like you said, the reason why Bernie Sanders is never chosen. Look at this. It doesn't matter whoever gets voted in, the stock market always stays the same.
Yeah.
If you were so fundamentally different and opposed to how to run things, would you think that would affect the numbers of the biggest fucking money deciding thing in our country? But somehow, some way, no, because we realize that shit's a game. You see what I'm saying? And like that's what I mean, dude. Like to me, the stock market probably going up because people buy more guns.
People are
Even
buying
under
more
Trump,
everything. You know
yeah.
what I'm
But then
saying?
think
It's a
about this.
consumer's
But think about
market
this.
now. That's all people.
Even under Trump, dude, like look at like when that Kaepernick shit went down, Nike stock went up because they went against him. You see what I'm saying? And then the other companies that were still fine with being red or whatever, all that, but then they didn't get hurt. They saw that their sales weren't affected by the people that were anti-Kaepernick either because they bought that shit to Bernie. You know what I'm saying? Like all that type of shit. Like they
Well,
just
it's
made
like
money.
that's
You know what I'm
always the
saying?
case. That's why
Yeah.
like Howard Stern, like this is a very like long or old example, but that guy got great ratings because either people loved his ass or the people that
Right.
hated him would
Right.
listen to be like this motherfucker. It's all
Right.
the same. Like it's just there's a rubber band reaction that you know that's a scientific thing. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. It's like
Well, I think they've mastered it to the point now that, like I said, they know how to even manipulate it so that they make events occur like what we saw last week. Even and you think that you did it of your own free will, not realizing that you were being like egged on. You know what I'm saying? Like all those
yeah.
people, like because if like
Oh
if you're in
yeah.
that wheel, you know what I mean? Because like look at someone like you and me or someone on the outside that didn't do that shit and is looking like, what the hell? Why are y'all this mad? All that because like they're literally every day getting reconfirmed with that same idea of, hey, your YouTube got this fucking conspiracy theory joined on it, and then hey, this shit Trump saying this, you know what I'm saying, and that's true, and this and that, and like you just get lost in it. It's like you said too, like there's people of different developments just learning this. So like someone who's like 50 years old who ain't had the internet his whole life now is looking at this like it must be real. You know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
realizing
Look at the
like, you
production.
know,
Like this looks like
yeah,
CNN. This has to be real. It's like, no, this is
right,
a guy in his basement who whacks off to Alex Jones all day. It's just is what it
right,
is.
right. Well, dude, I mean, I find it funny that YouTube is just held in such high regard, anyways, dude. I mean, because like somebody can sit there and talk straight for like hours on end, you know what I'm saying, and like sound like they're making sense. But then someone can use that same footage and sound like they're making sense, saying something the exact opposite. And it's just
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like to me, at that point, you have to stand back and look to yourself and say, well, what do I think? You know what I mean? I think that's what people aren't doing. It's like they aren't really standing there or like saying to themselves, like, what do I think? Or how can I do something better? Because like I don't know, dude. Like that whole thing of the whole government and the dark hand and all that shit. Like I think that's a real thing. I don't think it's something that none of us can do about it. You know what I'm saying? Because like none of
Yeah.
us are united enough to fight such an opposition, dude. You know what I mean? Like so
I
I
want
don't
to
know.
be like an altruistic person, but when you like think about these things, like we've been friends for decades or
Right,
decade plus, right? So
right,
we've watched all these things and we've seen things come and go, some true, some not. And I think everyone that's sort of our age that was into that, kind of has, like, I'm like you. There's something going on that we can't even really grasp because we're getting we're getting the information that whoever that is wants us to get. So there's really no
right.
way to, unless you are some statistical genius or have some insider information to know the real deal. But I'm like you. Like I would love to be an altruistic person and say, you know what, like this can't, like I want to be the hero and I want to be
Right.
like tell everybody the truth. But the real deal is I don't know what the truth is other than somebody's doing some fuckity shit and it's for their own benefit. So at this point,
Hey,
like I think like what we saw, we were kind of going over just like specific details about like what happened at the Capitol. But to me,
right.
you just look at it as an event, and you were to describe that, like some conspiracy guy got you, and he's like, "Hey, you want to hear about a false flag that they did a couple of weeks
Right.
ago?" Like that to me is what it was, because they did
Right.
something, and it
Right.
even had violence in it, but there was no point to it. So to me, it's
Right.
that it was something that somebody got to happen, and it's an event that had all these like really big ramifications.
Right.
But why did it
To
happen?
me, well, to me, the ultimate goal for that was for it happen so that we could see it. Like the average person or the guy in the middle or the blue side can now stand back and look at those people and say, "Oh, see, they're out of control, man. We got to stop these people, man. We got to put new laws, gun laws. We got to do this." Because like you realize they've been pushing that gun law shit since day one, since Trump been in office, dog. And like to me, I will stand back and tell anybody like that gun law shit on some real shit is some bullshit because you like that law was only like it's a Royce 5'9" got it in the song. He said the right to bear arms is only made for Grizzly Adams. You see what I'm saying? Because like legitimately, what you gonna do against a fucking tank, dog? They got some shit that'll
Yeah.
shoot through your back, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like
You
from
don't even got to worry
like
about that. They can just send some weird robot plane to drop some on you or to like
yeah,
shoot you. It doesn't, at this
yeah,
point, it really, I don't know what a group of hillbillies thinks they're
right.
going to do. You can't throw fucking Molotov cocktails you made out of fucking mason jars at a drone.
Well, the problem with it too is that all those people have woken up too little, too late. You know what I'm saying? Because like we're saying, we're finding shit out 10 years ago and shit. Like day one, like how you just said about that robot thing, right? Motherfucker should have been in an uproar when they found out that hey, the Dallas Police Department used a drone to blow up some guy that was shooting police officers. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, stop the guy killing police officers, yeah, but you can just legally drop a bomb inside of a metro area in a city, and
Yeah.
we're cool with that. Like, there's laws to that. There's okays with that. We can't even get a drone delivered from Amazon, and yet you're dropping bombs with the shit. So I'm saying like off rip, I'm having questions, but we didn't say nothing back then. So now it's okay to do. So I'm saying so now they can just come in there. That the president's been set. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with like when we were talking about school shootings and all that type of stuff. Like laws got made behind that shit so that kids are going through metal detectors and all that. And like at no point did anybody want to stop and be like, hey, or after 9/11, like, hey man, like do we need all the security? Like, is this okay? And now it got to that point with Edward Snowden where it was like, hey, you're looking into my life and my phone. Even it even tells you in your phone, like, hey, this app's gonna look into your photos and all this.
Yeah.
I need access
Exactly.
to that. You
Track
know what
your
I'm saying? Like,
location.
yeah, like it tells you all that shit. And then we just sat back and say, oh, well, I want to use it. So cool, cool, cool. And we gave up all these freedoms, and at no point did anybody stop it. So now you're running up on the Capitol trying to be like, hey, it's like, bro, you're too late. You know what I'm saying? Like they saw you coming before you came here, and they let you do this because now they're gonna use it once again to their benefit, bro. Like you can't tell me that that's not the ultimate plan. Otherwise, these people are dumber than we even imagine. I don't think that shit was all by chance though, dude. Like me personally, like I can't believe that
It just
because
seems like I can't imagine those people that I see visually amassing any sort of organized assault. You know what I mean? It
right.
just seemed like they got an invite to go to some shit,
Yeah,
and the
right.
people that were inviting them had gotten them into this frothy, fucking just anger rage bubble that they, as soon as Trump said, we're going down there, and all you see these clips of like his son saying like we gotta fight him. It's just like WWE level, like
Right. Right.
rips and shit, and it just
But then this is
looking
the
at
thing
it,
though.
it's just what we're saying. It's like, how do you come to any other conclusion? I
But then
don't. That's where I
right.
get kind of scared. It's like, how many people are just going to keep just ignoring these very blatant and obvious like things? Maybe you don't know conspiracy language, but shouldn't everyone be like, wait a sec, like, come on, guys. There's like all this is happening. Like, stop watching Netflix for 5 minutes and just sort of like do the math in your head of what has transpired in the last, I mean, even the last like
Well,
six
no.
fucking months.
Do this math. What's gonna happen to me if I follow behind all this shit? That's the math you need to be doing as a fucking individual on the earth. You know what I'm saying? Like when they start getting you all in that frothy state, you need to stand back and say, well, how does that get what we need by doing that? Because like what they should have did, like I said, is they should have just been outside the Capitol, right? Like protesting for days on end. They should still be there now, like
But
protesting, but peacefully. So at least that way their shit is heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the thing that's crazy is like this is how I know it was engineered, bro. like you said, they got them people all riled up down there. And then he told them to go somewhere. All while there are senators on both sides up in the Capitol building. He tells them to go down there, and they're up in the Capitol building with their feet up, like they don't know nothing about this. Like they don't
Or
know all
they're
those people
letting
are
them
out there.
in, or
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
all
that's what I
like,
mean.
you know,
Like, and let's say that okay, that did happen where they didn't know. Then what Trump did was a cited riot that was basically an organized attack. He needs to go to jail then. Like that's the only other thing. Like, and they're trying to say that that's not what happened. So if that's not what happened, then it was all theater. They blocked those doors and did all that shit. Because like I said, even the blocking of the door shit to me at that point is like you already let them through the first barrier in the front door. Like why are we holding this ground now with guns here? Like we're gonna shoot somebody and then we're not. You see what I'm saying? Like
I mean,
if
it
they
just
get through
seemed
that
like
last, yeah,
hyper intense LARPing, like that live action
yeah,
playing shit. I
yeah,
mean, there was a guy with horns, there's people with
right.
like pitchforks, and
That's
they're
what I'm
all
telling
doing
you. It was
like,
theater.
yeah, it's just like
I'm
bad
playing my
community
character, bro.
theater that had some
Yes,
real ass consequences. And
yes,
also, like when you speak, when you literally get somebody who can get into one of those groups, right? Like I mentioned that Jordan Klepper guy, but there's other
right,
people and just regular journalists. When
right.
they ask one of these fucking people that are pro Trump or whatever, what are you worried about? They're always like, they're taking my freedom. But it's like, what freedom are you worried you're going to lose? Because what is your day to day life? And how does Trump being in office and then leaving affect your day to day life?
I
Realistically, if
mean,
you're a
the
little
thing
low
is, dude.
income, just like redneck, nobody being president's ever going to move a needle for you. You're not going to get,
Well,
nothing's going to change.
I think that the way that they're attacking these people's minds is that these people believe that once the Democrats take control, it's going to be mandatory vaccines, like security checks, and it might be all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think that was going to happen under Trump too, because like I said, it wasn't like we were all living peacefully and shit was smooth and okie dokie. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know, but I think that's how they got them all hyped up. They're like, they're gonna come in your house, take your kids, and put needles in them, and fucking track you and do all this crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but they
people
didn't
are telling
say,
you that,
hey,
like,
by doing what we're about to do, they're going to come into your house and they're going to pull you out. Like, there was people getting arrested off planes. Like, they're calling me a terrorist. I can't believe this. It's like, bitch, you're a fucking we got you on video, okay? Like, if
I
we had
mean,
OJ stabbing his wife in the neck, he'd be arrested, but we can't do that. So we're
I
going to
mean,
get
that's the thing, dude. Like, I think that what they did was kind of like a strategic cattle call to all those underground organization militia groups. You know what I'm saying? That like are on the radar of those organizations. Because like, you have to realize too, they didn't just do it anywhere. They did it in D.C. Quantico is right up the street. Like that's where the FBI is, motherfucker. Like they drove by your place to get to this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, you feel me? So like,
Look
it's
out
not
the
like this was.
window, motherfucker.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you ain't see all them Trump flags drive by when y'all was seeing that shit. Like that's why you can't tell me they didn't know. So that's why, like, to me, what that was them letting those people in so they could trap them and now be like, oh yeah, now we got footage to show that because like until those people actually do anything, you can't really get them. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody can post online all day, like, I just want to bust Trump in the face, but until you show up with the boxing glove on to punch him, they can't really do nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I think that's like what was going on is they had people that they thought were, on the radar and watching them and monitoring them. And then they got to the point where it's like, oh, he's coming and watching it. You know what I'm saying? Like, good, good, good. Like, then they, get him on video. He's an agitator. Boom. So now they can, get him. And then, like I said, once they get one guy, then they link into him and say, oh, here's a text message log between him and this dude about how they were going to go down there. Who's that guy? Boom. Now they got him. Oh, who was he talking to? Boom. Now they got him. You see what I'm saying? Like, or if you're in a group text, it's even easier. But like they literally can like with keywords put in things in your phone and just be like Hillary Clinton, conspiracy, Obama, and just like see what your mind is thinking about those things. You know what I'm saying? Because like it pops up everything, dude. Like that's in everybody's phone, dude. That's not some magical thing. It's easy. Like you don't got to be some computer genius. Like you just need to program literally keyword searching anything they want, and they can just find the history of that shit. Got your bank account, all that shit. So like, you know what I mean? Like it's not hard, dude. Like,
I mean, it's scary because now I was talking, I mean, it's kind of like sucks that we're stuck in like this. We got 7 days left till that he's out of office, and everyone's saying like that's the day where maybe this will all be over with. At least that's kind of how I feel. And I just when we're talking about, they're still saying like the FBI is literally coming out and saying on inauguration day there's going to be armed protests at every state capital, and I don't know if they're just is this more getting people like worried and concerned or angry and like getting it ready for more shit to pop off. Is there really going to be riots in all the capitals? And also, with Trump being kicked off all these social media platforms that are widely used, and switching over to something like Parlor, which, we were talking about this yesterday, and I'm not really even sure looking it up online if it's you can't even access Parlor, like if the actual full app has been shut down. But
I
regardless,
think it has been, yeah. I
there
think it
might,
did, yeah.
but there are other channels that these people
Right.
use to communicate. So if Trump is literally only on these back channel places communicating with his base or whoever's communicating what this wish for his supporters to do these things, now no one's really widely seeing it. You're going to have to dig and know where to look. And
Right.
it's just making it, to me, a situation where there's way more probability of fuckery going on his end. If he is, in fact, sowing seditious roots and trying to continually motivate these people to commit attacks and
I don't know. To me, I feel like that's a sign of showing that they already got those people bagged up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're shutting those apps down because, like, since day one when you got on an app, they knew who you are, where you were. So now they're just like, ringing it all in. They're just putting a pause on it to be like, okay, let's just go and search down the list, see what this is, see what that is. But also, that could be evidence of the cover up too, because like, why wouldn't you? Like, I'm with you. Like, why wouldn't you keep it open? Because like that's the channel they're using to communicate. Now you have your enemy's
yeah,
communication
like it's
right
almost
there.
like
You know what I
why
mean?
not just let
Yeah.
them go and just don't even acknowledge it till it, like, so you can keep watching. It's like, are
I
you that
mean,
bad of an undercover? You don't understand this kind of shit?
I think that's what I'm saying. To me, that's why I think this is all just, for the cameras, dude. I think all this shit is theater. Like now, this is why I wanted to say this, because like we talked about a lot of crazy shit for the last few days. I wanted to give out my positivity spin on what I think the individual
Okay,
mindset needs to
I
be of
like
people.
this.
So amongst all these things we've been talking about, and like you can think we're crazy for saying there's a dark hand, shadow government, evil plan, whatever. Like I said, like to me, I'm just going at it with broad strokes because I don't want to delve into like any individual thing, but to establish once again, either that's all true, or if you just look into it and say every conspiracy theory says there's some cover up going on, to me, there's definitely a cover up attached to this and other events that's been happening for the last few years. And I think what's going on is all these cover ups have been highly televised. Things have been shown to you over and over again. And I don't know if you remember, there used to be that poem that tell you the revolution isn't televised. And the reason why is because they're telling you that the revolution is going on inside your mind. Like there's a moment where you're going to realize and wake up and say, oh, what I'm being shown is what I'm supposed to be revolting against, revolting against, actually. You know what I'm saying? Because like they keep showing us the violence, they keep showing us the terrorist things, they keep showing all these evil things, but your mind is supposed to say, I don't accept that as what's the reality. I'm not going to accept their fictitious war, because that's what they want, dude. Like they want an uprising to take place, like I said, so they can put enough dominance on the average American citizen so that our freedom isn't there anymore. That's what I think the real threat to freedom is that we do something to give them a reason now to assess more like legalities onto us,
Yeah.
because like that's kind of how
Well, that's
China
why they're trying to
is.
divide us, because it
Yeah,
causes all that,
exactly. Right,
it
exactly,
increases us.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, because like I think that's what they want. It's like that ultimate control, like China, where they can like look down on their people and say, "Hey, I know you're a farmer, but you come off your farm, come over here in this factory, build these until we tell you to stop. Here's some money, but this is how we gonna do things." You know what I'm saying? Like I think they want that level in America too, because then they are free to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like if they give us an allowance amount of money, that's why like even like that idea of like a universal base income and shit, like they want to give you that money so you spend that money. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't like they
Yeah.
want you to get that money
You
to
want to
get
better.
rich.
You don't want to go to
Yeah,
college with that. It ain't gonna ever be
yeah,
life changing money. It's just gonna be
right,
enough so you
right,
can buy some food and sit on your ass.
right. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because like that's really the strength of America. That's why I was saying like that thing about the stock market and shit too, is that like they want our strength is in our money. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we always got shit flowing. And like even amongst the pandemic and all that shit, the market been going stronger and stronger. You can't tell me something's not up. You know what I'm saying? That somebody's not pulling a string here or there. Because like if this was a unplanned pandemic, then how the fuck did y'all continue to keep making money through all this? Where like
Yeah.
shit was just like like nothing happened. It's almost like if you was back in the 20s and trains just didn't work no more, and it was like, well, damn man, I'm the coal man, and then all of a sudden you still made all your money with no trains though. they'd be like, "What the fuck? How you doing?" It's like, "Oh man, I made a new fucking wheelless locomotive and just made bank, dog. I guess I'm a beast." You know what I'm saying? Like
Amazon. That's a perfect example of what you're saying right there. Like company that was created, whatever it was when it got big and people started widely using it. There was a massive online market where you could get everything you need for your house, that for entertainment, for anything you want, right there, and have it delivered to your door without leaving. And it almost seems like they started it, and obviously, you'd sound crazy to really think this, but it's a product that caters and is
to this situation
in a pandemic. You know what I'm saying?
Like it's almost
it was
too
set
perfect.
Up with all these warehouses, and now when the pandemic happened, guys, like we're ready to go here already. Like this is what we've been waiting for. Everyone has to be in their house. Okay.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't tell me,
sense, man. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like there are things going on. But like I said, to me, as the average person, what you need to do is because, like you saw what those people did, they accepted the programming, and now they're on the Capitol steps, frothing at the mouth with no plan, and then they look up with handcuffs on their back and tear gas in their eyes, like I'm trying to destroy America. I thought this was America.
Some of those people had kids. It's like some of those people are getting their kids taken away. You know,
right? You see what I'm saying? Right, exactly. So like that's what I'm saying. Like because you're accepting what the base program. You're thinking that that's the real reality. The real reality is that it's people like you and me, and just like even in that crowd, there's people with this same mindset of they want what's best for everyone, dog. That's really why they was down there, because in their heart they thought they was doing a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think nobody went down there. Like I'm sure there was racist people and all that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to throw these people no love. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like somebody in that crowd had the mindset of thinking like, well, I'm a fighter for freedom. Like I want to do what's right for justice. Like I don't think, because some people didn't run up in the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't all them people. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I understand.
You feel me?
You
like,
don't have to explain.
Like I'm hoping,
fuck all the bad people in that group,
right,
for sure. Which was 99% of them, but.
Exactly. But I'm hoping those people in that crowd that were down there that was like, I didn't come here for this. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to hear Trump try to stand up for what I think was could possibly be some illegalities in government, which you're delusion to a degree, because even if it is there, you'll never catch them people to get them to say that, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point now, like it's already done. So
and the
like,
guy you're saying is against it is committing the most. So
exactly. Like that's the thing. Like that's why I can't really throw those people too much bail, because it's just like the guy you're hitching your wagon to, like, dude, like Alex Jones, we listened to that dude back in the day. He would tell us both sides are corrupt. And then now all of a sudden you're just jumping on Trump's dick like, oh, he's the savior of humanity and blah, blah. It's like, oh, what happened to you, Alex? What the fuck? Like, you feel me? Like,
I think if you find a hero in real life, like if you find somebody who really is like a magical human, I've met people in my life where you saw them and you knew immediately that they had goodwill in their, they were just good guys. I mean, you're one of them, like, but to another, like those people who you would consider like the good version of Trump. You know what I mean?
What you talk about, right? I know what you talk about.
With some kind, or just an expert. You know those people. So like, if you think that's the guy and that's the vibe of what right and sane and like what is good in the world is, that's why I can't rock with you. I get wanting the play, like no lies, no corruption. I'm for all that shit.
Right. But that's not how you go about it.
Yeah. And that ain't the brand. Exactly. Like it shouldn't be about violence if we're all trying to be better people. You can't whoop a bunch of ass and then be like, guys, let's set this society up. Like this is the utopian society. I just had to whoop some ass real quick. That's never going to be.
I mean, but you know what's funny? That's the exact story of like the Exodus in the Bible.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're at the level now where we have all this information and like connectivity. We should be able to do something that wasn't possible in biblical fucking times. You know what
exactly,
I'm saying?
Dude. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that's the problem right now, is that like I feel like everybody has a similar mindset of that the way things have been going is wrong, and we need to go about things a better way. Because like obviously, dude, you will break your leg and die in the hospital from bills later on in your life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that's the reality of the country we live in. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why like it's things.
Myself personally this week.
Yeah, so I don't you feel me? Yeah, so like that's like a real thing that's on the backs of everybody, whether you're a red guy, a blue guy, an in between, a conspiracy theorist, whatever. Like the fact of the matter is, if you ain't healthy and like we got this pandemic popping off, you could die and never come back, and like and then leave bills for people, all that shit. Like it's ways where you'll be destitute like on your deathbed, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like to me, that's not a modernized, civilized society to live in. Because like, if that's the real case, like if you were to say to someone, damn, like the only way you can survive in this world is with money, but we have a system in which if you can't make it because you're unhealthy or unfit or hurt or whatever, we don't help that person, so they can't make money and they can't recover either to heal themselves. Isn't this like some sort of weird torture or like deadly situation in which you can't get out of, where you're just digging a deeper hole for someone? Like, isn't that wrong? Shouldn't we live in a world where things like that don't happen? But then guess what? They'll do that to you with your house, with a car loan, with a credit card. You know what I'm saying? Like, so then it's like, oh, wait a second, this is our ways. You feel me? So like, that's why like when there's an uprising from that, that's why I feel like there is that dark overlord, because they have to understand their system has this built into it. Like, we take advantage seditiously of people in tough times, and then when these people in tough times say, "Hey, man, the way you got over on me was wrong and fucked up and unfair. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to do that." It's like, oh well, we made the rules, we played the game, you lost, so what? Kiss my ass. And that's, you tell me that's not what's going on, dog.
I mean,
You feel me?
it has to. It is. I mean, that is what's going on. And to me, like, if I were to put a positive spin on what's going on, like how I am trying to rationalize everything, because you know, to me, because I am a, we've gone through this a little bit, but I am a cancer survivor. So, like, for me, in the situation I'm in, the pandemic's been something I've been very concerned about and very careful with. I'm careful I don't go out much other than very safely and everything. So that's been my main concern. So
Right.
like all this political shit, I don't want to sound like I've been through some shit and I'm above it, but when I was sick and thought I was gonna die, wasn't worried about who the president was. And when I got
Right.
better, the president was the same president. He was, I mean, I got sick when Donald Trump got inaugurated and I got better through that whole thing. So, like, him being president, I hated him. I don't like him. He's a cunt and get out.
Right.
But when I went through it all, like, that didn't matter. And like my life now, like, my main concern was me and my family and like you and the
Right.
people I love all being as good as possible and getting better at shit myself, like being a
Right.
better dude. Like, not
Right.
so if you're gonna put a positive spin on all this time we're being just like stowed away. We're all in our houses, we're all not doing shit, is you gotta like be altruistic and care about everyone around you. And I think a lot of, by doing the things we should, like wearing masks, but also be concerned by getting better at things. Like, do a little bit of self care right now. And I think we're being given that opportunity. And I think when you do that, you get that you are able to sort of come back and see the forest for the trees and
Right.
be like, oh shit, that doesn't even matter that much. It matters, socially, but this ain't like, no matter what's going on politically, it don't affect my life. It's just a decision, a team. Like, if the
Right.
Steelers start killing people, I'm not gonna be like, Steelers. I'm gonna be like, that's fucked up. No,
Oh
not a
man.
fan. So I
Hey,
just
bro.
feel like now is like the best time, and we've been doing it. We
Yeah.
started doing something at the start of a pandemic that we're doing now, and both of us, every time we talk, are talking about up in our game in some way, or upgrading ourselves, or working out, or making ourselves better people. Which I think if you're getting older, you need to do that anyway. But I think as a whole, like, we got to get out of this. Like, I was talking to my mom and dad about just this stuff too, and they're in their 70s. And
Right.
I'm 38 almost, or am I 38? I'm 37 or 38. I can't fucking remember right now. That's so terrible. But I don't remember any time in my life before the last, let's say, 8 years, where you remember when you were a kid, you just heard your parents talking or adults talking. Do you ever remember them talking about politics at all?
Um, like my dad was kind of more of a guy into some of that shit, but not really like who they were gonna vote for or anything like that. Never anything like
No.
that. Now.
And there was no one arguing like interpersonally, like, you're a Democrat, fuck you. Like, it was never that aggressive.
Right. Well,
So
check this out.
why is it up so much? Why are we all, it's social media and all this shit's putting us
Yeah.
in each other's business. So you sit and fume about it. Where if somebody tells me they're a Republican to my face, I can be like, oh, well, like, why are you? Like, get them to explain it and not have it be like, fuck you.
Right.
Just
But see,
doesn't
I
make
think
any
that's
sense.
But see, like I think that's kind of like what you're saying is what I was getting to too, dude. Is the whole point is like what your mind is focused on is what your reality is, dude.
Yeah.
And like that's why they're constantly showing us that shit of like the division and like basically every day on television they're showing you the deluge of the most richest times in our country. Doesn't that sound crazy? Like right now, like they're claiming like if you were to think like in terms of like socially and shit, this is like the lowest point ever in our country's history because like literally like there's division everywhere you would say to
Yeah.
yourself watching the news, but then like look at like the markets and the money and all that, they're making more money than they ever have. So like how are we divided and then at the same time making bank? You feel me? So like either like that's because that to me is what they're selling. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's the
Like if the product
fire
of the
to make all the profits. Get all
right,
that
you
shit
feel me?
locked up and they
Yeah,
start just consuming shit.
exactly, dude. Just like on the flip side of that, like I feel like because you were just making a joke about it when we first started the podcast, but like if you're like in LA and you're in like the mindset of peace, you can go down there as a yogi, dude, and sell a whole bunch of crystals and make bank. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the product of the month. That's the flavor of the week. You feel me? So like the flavor of their week is always that constant violence. And that's why I'm saying like my positive spin is this is ultimate proof not to listen to none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the shit that's really bringing us down is the illusion of the division. But like I'm telling you right now, like if I were to catch one of them Trumpists on the street 101 and they was trying to holler at me and talk to me about some shit, and like especially with my mindset of how the conspiracies and all that shit is, and I know about all that stuff, they probably would like me because they probably would be like, damn, like he know about this too, you know what I'm saying? Like and be like intrigued by it, you know what I mean? It's like I don't know too many niggers know about this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but
You'll
next
have to
thing you
hear a
know,
lot of that shit for
yeah,
sure.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. But you feel me? Like at the same time though, their minds would get changed because like I know for a fact, like I worked at a bar and saw people like that every day where I would be like, oh, this old white dude don't know nothing about nothing. And then next thing you know, they'd be telling you stuff that you ain't know. I'd be like, oh shit, like
I mean, that
he
is
cool.
fucked
You know what
up
I'm saying?
though. It happens.
Yeah.
We've done it with like being together and talking to people where you're like, damn, I thought this motherfucker was gonna be dumb as shit, or I thought this
Right.
I was gonna hate him. And then you talk to
Right.
him, it's like, damn, okay.
Right. And
Oh,
that's
that's
what I think the reason,
possible. Even
bro,
between
and plus
enemies, that's possible.
and get this, like I've had people from that caliber of life try to help me out or help me out in ways that for whatever reason they did, and I would have never like that dude to help me with that auto parking job or whatever. Like for the time being, you know what I'm saying? Like he did out the good of his heart, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like it didn't work out to like the greatest thing, but he was
He
trying to do
helped you
something
out.
good. Yeah, and I'm sure me and that guy probably don't see eye to eye on politics, but I never asked him about it, you know what I'm saying? Because that ain't something that you're gonna judge a man for at the end of the day. You
But
feel me?
that's
Like, and
also
then
where we grew up and how we grew up.
yeah,
It's like
right.
that just was something where it was like said to not ask, and it's for a reason. It's like it don't matter. Like don't
I
talk about
mean,
what you like. That's the same. It's
right.
about fucking politics.
Well, to
How
me, I just
boring.
feel like it's because what they're selling now isn't even like an accomplishment of a politician. Like I could see if like the Democrats like got together, like they kind of try to do with that health bill, kind of, but like at the end of the day, everything they come up with is always to their benefit. You know what I'm saying? Like if they could
Yeah,
just do things like out of the goodness where it was just like, hey man, we realize that like people with newborn children that get sick get put into bankruptcy and trying to save their child's life. So we just thought we'd make this new program where premature babies, you don't have to pay for the hospital stuff with that, and it's written off through the government. Like even if we went to just that small amount of help for someone, don't you think that's just a great thing, regardless of if that's a Republican, a Democrat, a welfare queen, a fucking rich ass bitch, anything? Like just like out of goodness of my heart, like whether you can afford it or not, I'd just be like, damn, yo, like your child was sick, and like you want your newborn to live, don't you? You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Or like
Like,
little kids who get leukemia. Like take it from
yeah,
somebody who got leukemia. If you get any
right,
pills for that, and you're like a parent, I'm sure is gonna pay anything to save their little kid.
right.
And it's like, why
Are we
and
making this
I've
a
gone through
decision?
cancer, dude, and I was broke, but I was lucky, and I'm not gonna go through all that. But just like to me, as somebody who went through it, why not anyone? And this, I mean, this sucks, and I know financially I have no answers for this, but as like a society, if you get cancer, right? Unless you're putting your head in a fucking microwave and you do it purposely somehow, people that get cancer should definitely be given some breaks to get that shit cared for. You know what I mean? Something.
bro,
Because
or
they try
any,
to
or if
charge you
you get
30
hurt,
grand for a bottle of pills. And it's
right?
like, if you ask them why, because I just went through this, and this is as much as I'm going to say, but it's like, you could be the nicest person on the phone, be as, plead with people, and all you will get from an insurance company or a drug company is, you don't meet the qualifications, sir. I'm sorry. Like, I was on the phone crying to
Right,
somebody, and I was like, why won't you help me? And they're
right,
just like, I can't. Goodbye. And it's just
yeah.
okay. Like, I guess the world is So from that standpoint, an organization to do anything like you said, help kids. Why not make that
But
a part of the government so it's done? Like, why
well,
are
what I'm saying is, or just even like an initiative to do it, but which out like literally with no strings attached. That's my thing, dude. Because like I just feel like every time we go to the government, it's like we're making a deal with the devil.
yeah,
Because it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, we'll give you a stimulus check, but we're gonna give all these companies that we're
you have to
got
vote
stock in
this
all this
way,
money, and
please.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like everything starts becoming this quid quo pro type of thing where it's like your vote is up for sale, and like if you even vote for the wrong person, you're looked at with like academic, disgrace and shit. Cause like you can't be some supposed like open-minded person and then be saying like you bought with Trump like that, dog. Like that's not what the brand of Trump is. You know what I'm saying? Like now, granted, I'm sure there are open-minded people that probably do fuck with him. I'm sure to whatever degree, but at the same time, like you're being counterintuitive. Like we're talking about that young
Yeah,
Pharaoh dude. Like you sound crazy because like you're trying to say on one side that you need to be a good spiritual minded person, but then on the other side, you're bopping with Trump saying that he's the anti-establishment, but then he is establishment. He's just putting his own establishment in and making money off of it and stealing like openly. Like, what else can we say about this?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Quick side
Like,
note about young Pharaoh. He's gonna come in his pants because I guess they stole Nancy Pelosi's laptop out when they were doing that riot. So I'm sure he's
oh, he
trying.
lost his mind.
Yeah, I'm sure he's coming in his pants. But anyway, what you were saying when I sidetracked that is what was your point? Sorry. I have
Just that, just that you can't
Oh,
have
I'm
the
sorry.
two
I
counter
remember. I'm
things. Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
So like I get it. There are people in like that you would say are like intelligent people in Trump, like that are Trump supporters. And it's like, why would you do that? The brand, etc. And to me, just to echo that point, even if you are some like, you know, somewhat intelligent person, you've locked in and you believe that these MAGA people are in fact doing the right thing. When you go to a rally and you start hearing these huge chants of like that involve like anti-Semitism or racism, because that shit was
Nazi flags,
flown. Yeah,
Confederate
exactly. That
flags.
shit was being flown all over the place.
Right, right,
I, I get maybe you've not seen it like in person and you've just been supporting an ideal, but when you're there physically and you're sitting there, and even if you are an intelligent person, if you stay once all that happens, like to me, if I was that guy, I'd be like, man, I'm not like that ain't me. Like what is this?
right,
Like, I wouldn't be just like willfully ignoring a guy with a Nazi flag and being like, we're doing
right,
the right thing. It's like, look to your right, dude. There's a fucking, are you into
right.
that?
Right. You
You
see what I'm
know?
saying? Like that, but then at the same time, now a law enforcement officer is seeing this from afar. And then at no point is it like a call being made to be like, yo, we need backup. Like,
Yeah, we
that's the
got
thing,
Nazi
dude.
flags
Like,
out here, guys. Like some shit is brewing. And I mean, even
I
if you
mean,
watch like funny things that were covering that riot,
yeah,
everyone, it's universally when I've watched these things, and I don't know why I am. I think maybe in some way I want to be able to talk to you and be more educated about it, but also it's just like, grim fucking,
bro, it's one of the biggest
violence.
events in modern
Yeah, I
times,
mean, we're
dog. Like, I
living in
mean,
a
yeah, like,
page in a textbook at this moment, guys.
yeah, yeah,
But
basically.
um, I'm watching all these videos, and just universally, everyone that was at that event when it was like when it was just normal and they were doing like, waiting for the president, everyone that was there was like, man, like there is a weird energy here. Like this is a different energy than other, everyone
Right.
was saying that. So if that was in the air and again, it's just more evidence to the fact that there were people saying, don't worry about it, and like making it so that that was able to happen. And
Right.
it's just, again, guys, we were trying to get into a positive area here, Aaron. So the only thing I'm going to say is that I think we need to do what Aaron said. I think Aaron, you said it beautifully. Like,
Well, it's like I'm telling
don't
you, bro.
buy
They
in.
are selling, yeah,
Don't buy
they
that
are
lie.
selling you this.
Yeah.
Yes, this like from everything that we said, this is what all we were talking about was to prove that one point is that there is someone pulling strings, dog. We don't know who. I ain't smart
I
enough
don't
to
have an
say
answer
why
for it.
for. I mean, I honestly I have theories on that, but I feel like to a degree it's basically just all of them. I ain't putting it on Trump. I ain't putting it on Democrats. I ain't putting it on any person because
I'm
like you
putting
can
it
you put
on
Bernie.
whoever's got a shit ton of money that wants that to happen. That's my thing. It's a
Yeah, I
financial.
mean,
There's something financial that's at stake that's caused that
yeah, dude.
they're using
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, just think about this. This is one of the dots I would connect. Trump owes $80 million to other people overseas and shit. It's to their benefit to destabilize the country to get him back in power so that they can collect on the 80 million. That's a lot of bread, dog. Like, ain't
Yeah,
nobody just walking
and
away
that
from
ain't
80
even
mil.
that
You
much
feel me?
bread to rich people. So
Yeah. But you feel me? Like that's just a small thing that could possibly even be going on. But like let's not because like let's not even get into that.
don't even
But like
worry
I
about
said, yeah, like we're said, this shit is going on. It is a real thing. They're showing you this on TV though to show you that they are manipulating these things now. Like I think that this is their ultimate power show to be like, we can do whatever we want. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause like you see how they keep on bringing up the other ulterior report to this too of if this was Black Lives Matter, it would have been all them cops and blah blah blah. They're doing that on purpose because they want that
that.
divide
Yeah,
to be there. They're doing all these things strategically so that at the end of the day, as a black person, I feel separated, you feel separated as a white person, as an open-minded white person, then as a redneck, you feel separated, as a fucking LGBT, whatever. Like they're trying to get everybody in their own little pocket so that way they can sit back and now have you throwing stones at each other instead of looking up in the sky and being like, oh, there's the puppet master right there. So this shit is going on.
yeah,
Don't buy into it. Instead, like I said, delve into yourself and realize that when you saw that violence on TV leading up to that and all that, you as an individual that didn't do that shit, you didn't have no drive to do none of that. Like that day, I woke up and told my mom, I was like, they gonna go down there and trip, like guaranteed. But it's not like I woke up ready to fight nobody. I was in a great mood, had a great day. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like you feel me?
I didn't even
So
know
that's
this shit
why I
was
like
going on until it was going on. It's like why
right.
people that have I don't want to go negative again. I think
I
what you're
think they're
saying is
trying to fight the positivity that's really going on. I think that really what's going on is that if you want to be in a positive space right now, like, cause dude, like I listen to these other podcasts and shit that I, like are like about spirituality and shit, and like even just in my own life, like literally the things that I've been thinking about are coming to me easier. Opportunities been popping
yeah,
up more. Like honestly, like I said, it's been some of the best times of my life, and it sounds crazy because it's like it's the midst of the pandemic, and my father passed away, and like a bunch of shit that you could stop and say like, oh, like these are things that want to get you down in the mud, but then on the flip side, like I've chosen to not do that because I don't like feeling like that, dude. Like, and I know it's a choice, really, for me. I don't know
yeah,
about everybody because I know there is chemical depression and shit, but I know like when I'm down in the mud, I can do things to not feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like working out and
yep,
eating right and just
yep.
like sticking to regiments and schedules that help me to
Being
just like
creative.
yeah, all those things, dude. Like I know there are things that make me feel good, and I do those things, and they're becoming so easy. Like I've been trying to make like writing rap songs again, just as a joke. Dude, I've been writing rap so quick and so fast, dog, and they like some of the best raps I ever wrote. And like, just I'm just like, damn, that's crazy. Like I got really good at this, and I ain't even been doing this. Like, how the heck did you get good at rapping without rapping? You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
Like, but somehow I
that's how
did.
you should be living though, dude. Like and to like mirror what you're saying. When I got sick and got better, my whole thing was I got to make the most of it because in my head, this is like morbid thinking, but when you get cancer and you get better, everything they do to make you better, they tell you could give you cancer later on. So I'm
Mm,
living my life like I got to maximize every moment, everything that I've wanted to do in life that I've been like, nah, maybe later when it's a perfect situation. I've just said, let's do it. Like I'm not gonna say no
right,
to shit. I have a positive outlook on things where like when we were living together, maybe if somebody brought something to me, I'd be pessimistic and it would prevent something from happening.
right.
I'm an open book. I'm honest with everybody. There's no lies. There's like, and I have found the same thing. Like I have had the most success I've ever had in my life this past year. And
Dude,
it's
and I haven't been
through
getting pissed
work.
off like spiritually too.
No,
Like,
I
you
mean,
know what I
I've
mean?
been
I haven't
getting
been getting
pissed off, but not as much. But also, like, we've been more creative this year than we've ever been in our lives collectively, you and me. We've done like a shitload of work and made like figured out answers to questions where if it was just a normal situation, we would have never even done those things. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like,
right.
so I think that it's just a good lesson for everybody to learn. And like, I know we've been like going on this negative trip because socially what's going on, but I
Well,
mean, I
can I
fully
just
agree, man. I just got to
yeah,
say, like, how good of a, you just said
let
it
me just
so perfectly. And that's just
yeah.
what we all, as like everybody needs to do. Just like live and maximize your time, man. Because take it from me, like, you could be doing everything perfect and think you're on the way to some kind of like amazing success because of all the effort. And you could get your legs clipped out from under you and be able to not even know if you're going to live, or at very least be at square one and not have shit going on. So why
Hell yeah.
not, instead of watch the news and worry about some dumbass with straw hair and a red face, what he's saying, and just worry about all the people you love, do as good as you can at what you want to do, and just like do shit to make yourself happy at this moment, because that's really, I mean, that's all we can do. We're all fucking stuck in this fucking apartment or our houses and shit, so why not?
Well, bro, like we gonna wrap it up here, but I'll just throw this out there because this all kind of links back to what I said in all these recent podcasts we did. Remember, I was talking about like the human antenna and there being
Yeah,
like you actually brought up the idea, which I thought was really a new age of you, of the spiritual consciousness that exists like above us. You know what I'm saying? That
yeah,
like there is like a stream of consciousness that is out there, and like
it
from
has
what
to.
I've seen, like scientists has kind of proven that, and to a degree, like we as people know that it exists. Like even just like for an example, like if you have like if you're in love with someone, like you have sex with like your girl, you know what I'm saying? Like you feel like that link, you know what I'm saying? Like, and honestly, there's even like belief systems that would tell you that there's like spiritual powers in that too, to sex manifestation, where if you and your girl trying to
Yeah.
make some money, y'all can fuck some money up, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm trying to figure out how to do that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like I've
Fuck
heard
your
people
way
say,
into a millie.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it's like, girl, I know you got some gold in there somewhere. What's up? You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
gonna knock that
Uh,
shit out.
hey, but nah, but yeah, but like I was saying all that though, because then the other thing we brought up though too is that that the evil hand, or whatever you want to say, technology is the ulterior to the spiritual net. They're trying to make their internet, you know what I'm saying? Like their wave of consciousness. Like you said, we're all in our houses. They're constantly streaming and beaming that shit at you, because I think what the spiritual web, your mind web, or whatever you want to call it, is trying to tell us is what we're saying, that all the positive things that you want are right there at your grasp. But then why is their web now so dark, so ugly, worse than it's ever been? It's because they want you to be lost and trapped in that shit, dog. You know what I mean? It's like if you're in the river of Hades and shit, you ain't gonna never be able to, get on a boat or whatever to get across the other side, you know what I'm saying? Because you drowning, you know what I mean? Like I think that's part of the myth of that shit, was like you couldn't look down into the river or whatever, because you get your soul to get lost in it or some shit. You had to just like get on the boat and, you know what I'm saying, just go. You know what I mean? So like it's kind of, that's kind of what's going on with us. Is like you have to understand, like the voyage is to a better place, but all that darkness is going to be along the way, because they're trying to distract you from the goodness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you want a journey, it's hard, but you get to the summit of the mountain so that you can see all the glory. But that don't mean it ain't wolves and bears. You know what I mean? But
I mean, it's
that's what I think is
fucking,
going on, dog.
and it's also doesn't mean there isn't hard work. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
being in that mind state doesn't mean that it's not going to be hard. I mean, shit is hard. It's confusing, but when you go through all those things and work through problems and get success, then you're even like that's where you see what we're talking about. And that's
right.
also where how you these people, like, I feel like that's exactly what happens to somebody prolific, that like a Jay-Z, like whatever you want to say, Jay-Z, somebody who's like, they do so much and they get to this level and it's like, how do they have the time to do all this stuff? God damn, not right now. Um, you just think that you could never do all that, like you have the time to do all this. It's like, but when you work through a problem and you do it well, like those people have just done that so many times that they're that good at life, you know what I
Right.
mean? And that's what it takes, is some hard work. But then, like you said, you see those rewards, and when you are positive, that antenna, um, kind of analogy that we were using, when you're being positive and you sort of just commit to that, like I have or like you have, the reason that you find that you're finding other people that are positive when that happens is because it attracts that. Like there is some antenna effect where it's like I'm acting positive and somehow all these positive things are happening to me in this time where I've decided to be this kind of person. And that's not a mistake, you know.
Right. Right.
That's that's just what that is, what
I
it is.
mean,
That's what's supposed to happen.
I think is that we're powerful beyond our own belief, dude. Because like I think it's the same truth for the negativity too. Like just like with those Trumpists, the reason why they're in such an uproar is because they go out there with the mindset of looking for the shit. So then everywhere they go, they see it. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine if you're lost in the net portal and now it's like, oh my god, they've been hiding that the Earth is flat. And get this, the vaccines are killing the kids. And oh, they raping the kids. Oh, and get this, they got chemtrails in the sky. And then you go outside and you see the fucking the chemtrail across the sky. It's like, oh, and they giving all this free money out to people and Mexicans and black people, and then you see fucking a whole big ass family of black people and Mexicans walk by you, and it's just like all that racism and shit just boils up inside of you, and you just keep seeing it to keep reaffirming what you already believe. You see what I'm saying? But that's what I think the mystery of life really is that what you have trained yourself to see is what you're gonna see. Because
Yeah.
you could be blinded by all that, and the whole time, like have all the blessings going on to you and ignoring it. Like, oh, you're blinded by the Mexicans, but like, oh shit, your kid's going to college and your girl is fucking, you know what I'm saying, like becoming a doctor and shit, but you just mad because you know what I'm saying, you ain't did nothing with yourself because you so mad about black people or whatever the case may be. To me, it's such a stupid thing to be mad about race, especially because like even like when we lived in like, you know, like the lower income neighborhood that we lived in, we had on Mexican people living around us and shit. Like I was never on some racial shit with them. It was
No.
legitimately like courtesy, you know what I'm saying? Because like when I came at all of them like on some courtesy shit, I think I was wound up being most of them people's favorite neighbor, dude. Because like I just wound up saying to them, like the lady that was always digging the trash, I was like, yo, you realize like I work at night, like I gotta sleep, you know what I'm saying? Don't come out here before 10 a.m., please. She's like, I'm sorry. And then she never did that shit again. You see what I'm saying? Because like
Yeah.
that's some real people shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, he got a job. Like, I understand. Like, I don't need to be
I
doing
mean,
this because that is fucked up.
being a decent human
Yeah,
being is like universal. Like if somebody's
yeah.
acting a fool and your house is connected to their house, then you're gonna have to address it. But I mean,
Well,
it was never like these fucking Mexicans. It was always,
right,
why would you be stomping around like this? Like what's going
right.
on? You know, it was never a racial thing for
But
sure.
think about this though. Like, so if you go off the mindset of seeking all that shit to reaffirm your hatred inside of you or whatever, then that's what you're gonna see. But like on the flip side, think about if you were to go out with all the love. Like this is what's even more scary because you said how it's hard to do that too. Like you can't even go into this world with that mindset 100% because people will think you're crazy. Because like you'll walk out into the streets and then it'll be like, oh man, like this guy is strung out on drugs and like living on in the streets. Like, hey man, here, let me buy you a sandwich and like, can I help you? You know what I'm saying? You need a ride somewhere. If you go to the doctor, like you help that guy, then you're gonna walk over and see the next person and try to do it again and again and again. And like eventually people are going to be like, this dude is a sucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why we don't do it. Cause like, you're going to string yourself out trying to help others to the point where it's like, you can't even do it. But that's why I was saying like, now is the time more than ever to find people on that same wave with you and link up and try to build outside of this system that we know is fucking us over, dude. You know what I'm saying? Because like even in the things that we think are like okay, like how people talk about like being vegan and like being like electric cars and shit like that. Like electric cars make as much pollution as regular cars do because of the coal that they put for electricity, and then also the batteries are hella toxic to the environment. You know what I'm saying? So like them two things right there, it's like damn, I'm trying to help and I can't help. Or like you want to stop eating meat or whatever, but then they still mass produce meat, and it's like it's not my fault that they chose to make it this way. It's just that the system is fucked up. Like if we did it on a small scale where like I had a cow that I slaughtered and fed the neighborhood with, then guess what? That's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Like because eventually the cow's gonna die, people need to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like it's actually helping the world in ways. You know what I'm saying? But like we don't have it set up. We have everything set up nefariously. So that way, like that's what I'm saying. Like we need to break apart from it. I think that's what's really the message from on high. That if you want to talk about the spiritual net, is that there's a better way of doing things and people are starting to see it, but they're trying to cloud us because the better way interferes with the old way. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like,
yeah. I
that's what that's
mean,
what
and like you watch Westworld, right?
yeah.
You watched the last season, right?
Yeah. I seen all that.
You know how in that show they have that system Rehoboam or whatever it's called, where
Yeah.
it's visualized by like a circle, and
Right.
when everything's okay, it's like white and there's some shadows and stuff crawling.
Very 21st century space,
Yeah,
2001 Space Odyssey
but to
machine.
me, like that was such a perfect representation about. I mean, you could use it for anything. Like right now, if you look at society as like that orb, and when things are bad, there's these shadows everywhere. It's like right now, the orb is all shadow. You know, it's
Mm.
all fucked up. But whenever you do get into that posse, like if you want to use that circle as a like a life thing, like for me personally, if I had a circle that was just that visual, and when everything's dope, it's clear, there's no shadow on it. But when you're like in a funk or you're in a rut or you're not doing what you should be doing, like, you know, it would start shadowing over. And I think like limiting that, like that, I just think that that's a beautiful way of like visualizing
I mean, that's like an
like
aura, you know
whatever,
what I'm saying? I
you
mean,
know.
legitimately, I mean, that's kind of what
And
they
that's
talk about though.
but that's
Yeah,
what life's about. And like I think like
yeah.
what we were talking about, where accepting being a positive person and not buying into what's being sold to us right now, and that leading to um more success and more happiness and like what we really all want to be about in this moment instead of all this nonsense. You know, we just all need to like eliminate all that shadow out of it and eliminate all this bullshit by doing what you were saying, you know,
I mean, it's
ignoring
just
all
we
this.
are in control. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are in control. That's what people got to realize, bro. Is that, like I said, this shit that we see going on is to create the illusion that it's not in our hands. You know what I'm saying? But like, realize all those people went down there of their own fruition. You see what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
why
From
I said I
many
wish I
like
could have. Yeah,
Hawaii and shit.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I wish I could have like been there, like not in the sense of like to stop them, but just to be in the mind of reason and just been like, what are y'all planning on doing? Like what? Like so we're gonna get in the Capitol and then do what? And then do what? And then do what? Because
Yeah.
like this has no end the way that you're setting this up right now. Because like me, I'm thinking we're gonna go storm the Capitol, then barricade it back, then get in a fight with the police to our deaths. Like I'm not signing up for this. That's why I'm asking, what are y'all doing? You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
exactly.
I need those people in the crowd. I'm hoping those voices were in the crowd to ask those questions. But then even what y'all did was even stupider, which was, wait a second, so y'all gonna go down there and show your face, get on the news,
Commit
call the
crimes
news,
for no reason. You didn't even get
steal.
enough.
Yeah. Yeah, like at least when you did it with Black Lives Matter, you got a fucking television out of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want a big ass podium, dog. Like, I'm not going to federal prison for this shit. You feel me? Like, that's why I just feel like it just shows you that that is what that was. Like, that was madness. That's what you get in the interpretation of man's web or whatever. Is all that shit leads to we're being controlled. But if
Yeah.
you realize of the spiritual web is telling you you're in control, when you realize that and that you did have control the entire time, then you can't do nothing but stand back and point fingers and say, "Oh, I'm in jail now because of my own doings. I've got
Yeah.
exactly what I
You
asked
better
for. I
be.
wanted it. Yeah, I wanted to get in a fight with the government, and I went down there and got in a fight, and this is what the consequences of this shit is going to be. Or even if they don't go to jail and they get away with it, you're still gonna never. That's a losing mindset of we're being
Yeah, it's
controlled.
not ever
You know
going
what
to
I'm saying?
lead to us getting to something where it's like,
Yeah,
do you really just want us all to be in some shit and like against each other? Because otherwise,
right.
like, this ain't going to lead to us being in a utopia, y'all. Like, this ain't how it ends. I don't
I
want to
mean,
live in whatever that is, whatever that ideal society is that those people have in their heads. I'm out.
because then that's the
That's
other
when
thing.
I'm
Yeah,
out.
like what did they think were gonna happen? What's gonna happen on the back end? Like, let's say you successfully barricade yourself in there, get in a firefight with every government organization and beat them all, and now you're in control of the Capitol. So then you're gonna say, "Hey, Trump's our guy. Put him in there." So every Democrat now in the entire America is gonna say, "Oh, okay, they
Yep.
won.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's cool." Like that's what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why it's
Wash
just
my
like
hands,
that's
y'all.
yeah, you feel me? That's why I just feel like where was the voice of reason amongst them to be like, hey dog, this ain't gonna work. This stupid. Like, hold up, don't go up there. Don't you see how they open the gates for him, bro? You
They
can't tell me
do.
that's
They
not
were
a
like
setup.
waving
That's a
them in,
setup.
man.
Yeah, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like y'all are so stupid. You single-handedly created a false flag, walked right into their doorsteps like how they wanted you to, bro. And like that's what I'm saying. Like they're not understanding that the game is getting played on that level. Like they don't even see that layer. That's why it's like kind of terrifying to realize that these are the people that are the ones that want to go and take action. You see what I'm saying? But like, I think that's why warriors are warriors for a reason. And then they got a general to tell them like, yo, you need to go
Yeah,
do it
they
this
ain't.
way. You know what
You
I'm saying?
ain't
Because they,
got intelligence. You're a
yeah,
machine.
bro.
You're just a pawn. If you're doing
They,
that shit,
oh God.
you ain't gonna get into anything.
Well, when you're a pawn being led by a fucking joker, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's where the issue is. You feel me? Because it's like, well, you ain't getting good marching orders to begin with. Because this dude told you to go down there and do some dumbass shit and didn't even have your back when it was all said and done, neither. So it's just, bro, it's crazy, man. I think
Bro,
that people
this
did
is
that shit.
it. This is it, man.
Crazy.
We might keep doing like a little bit of just this like in the trenches reporting as we get towards the inauguration. But I do think it was important today to acknowledge
Yeah.
that, guys, whatever happens, me and Aaron are just going to be in that yoga pose,
I mean, we talk about getting money, dog. That's our
I'm
shit,
gonna
bro.
get money.
Exactly, bro. I'm trying to tell you, bro.
I
That's
just
what we
listened to
all
that
about.
Nate Dogg album that we used to listen to in film school. That
G Funk.
G-Funk classics, y'all.
Oh God,
No
giving
matter
away
where
how
we
old we really are.
all
That's what
the
that is.
people know. No matter where we go, the grass is always green.
All right, man. I'm trying to tell you, dog. That's the truth. Put that on there when you edit
Mm,
this one. Just let that joint
mm.
roll out. But until
See,
next time, I guess, man. We even gave him what 7 hours of
I don't even know,
this.
man. It's
Yeah,
you know, it ain't that we ain't really doing a lot of editing to the podcast anymore. But I like this one, man. I'm just glad that it does suck to like be in that and talk about it, but I think we got into a real positive frame of mind. Um, and I love it, dude. So I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Yeah.